The entire COVID era, in fact, our own business of cloud kitchen suffered in the first half of COVID, the first wave of COVID, when we had to shut down 50% of our cloud kitchens. That's when we went on to becoming an enabler, and fast forward to today, we enable same-day delivery for a bunch of D2C brands and e-commerce businesses across India. And we do this via our own network of dark stores and fulfillment centers, and of course technologies and integrations. So if we look at the entire D2C space, we've seen a very huge spike in adoption. That means more and more D2C brands being created, and D2C adoption on the user side, with a lot of users buying D2C products, whether it's beauty, personal care, Ayurveda, it's sports, it's apparel, fashion, nutraceuticals, all of these categories. So I want to sort of, my first question to you is, what are your thoughts on this entire D2C adoption? Do you think this is very temporary in nature? What is it the only, is it an after?
Consumer used to go to majorly marketplaces and buy. Over the period of years, if you see a couple of years, the marketplaces have been, you could say, vanished. There's only majorly if I shop, I go to Amazon or I go to Flipkart on a certain electronics in certain cases. Otherwise, you could say marketplaces have been, you could say, vanished out of the e-commerce ecosystem. There are a couple of platforms like Meesho and all who focus more on tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which is more in reselling. So where do the Indian consumer shop basically? That's the question. So that's one of the reasons why D2C is picking up in India, because as a consumer, the buying capacity is been increasing. As a consumer, if I would be spending X amount of back couple of years versus now, I'm spending more. And why, as a consumer, my buying capacity is increasing, spending capacity is increasing. So I do look for better option for every alternate. So I don't think so this D2C wave is a temporary wave, or this is something a short term, you could say, short wave, which is going to be, let's say, it's like a maybe a year or 2 or 3 or 4, after certain years, it will move out. And even if you see the trends in US market, where D2C brands have been much evolved, much matured. So it is something, if you see certain trends in US, like there are brands like Gillette used to have a good market share. There are a lot of shaving, new age shaving brands who have not just in digital, even in physical, have almost eaten up their 45 or 50% of market share. Nobody would have thought about like a digital brand can go omni-channel and can beat companies like Gillette and all, who's been very traditional in the market. So this has been happening in US, this has been happening in other markets, and this is a similar trend what's been coming up to India. So I'm very sure D2C is not something a temporary wave or a short wave out here. This is going to be stay longer. And this D2C brands, not just like, it's not about just selling online. Online is one of the channel which starts for each of the brand. If you see all the top D2C brands, they have gone from online to they have gone to shelves. If you go to any retail chain, you'll find Mamaearth, you'll find a lot of other brands, basically all the big brands which have came from online to the shelf, you could say. So this is not something a short wave or a short duration. This is going to go big, and it's going to give big fight to all the traditional brands who are offline, who are not digital first, who have not been able to adopt over a period of time. It's going to be tough time for them surely.
Yeah, so if you look at the traditional, what is D2C brand? It's a subset of the traditional brand. So in India, it's always, there's a huge unorganized market, right? So even before there were brands, right? But it's unorganized. Now this whole era of D2C, right, which is now emerged, from the unorganized, it has created a subset of a D2C, and the reason why everybody is talking about, because those unorganized brands, maybe some have evolved towards the new experiences, or some are now starting with new experiences. They added a 5-layer. Number one, they added a technology layer, right, and therefore, because of that, the entire production capacity, the end delivery timelines, everything is more predictable. Brands across India.
Interesting. I I think two very key learnings that Yash and Naveen mentioned. If you look at what Yash said that for D2C brands, as the brand scales and grows from a very small scale to a large scale to being in say 25 cities, it has to adopt an omni-channel approach. It can start with going to market with D2C. D2C basically, for people who don't know what D2C is, I think it's very important for me to decrypt what D2C channel is. In a consumer journey, there is offline retail, there is modern retail. Modern retail basically means 24/7, Limarche, Big Bazaar, etc. Offline retail means general trade, all of your normal regular shops. And then there is e-commerce. E-commerce is basically Flipkart, Amazon, etc. There's another form of e-commerce these days called quick commerce. Quick commerce is basically Zepto, Instamart, Blinkit, Dunzo. So these four sort of come in the entire quick commerce category. And then the last but most important category where brands have control over the customer journey, they have control over the entire consumer experience and consumer data, is the D2C, direct to consumer channel. So what you have said is, when a customer places an order directly on the website, that is just one channel. As the brand scales up, you need to be across multiple sorts of shelves. You need to be in e-commerce, you need to be on stores, you need to have small airport kiosks. And then what Naveen said is very important. By D2C, why we saw a very huge uptick in D2C as a channel is because of transparency. More often than not, what happens on Amazon is that a same iPhone is being sold by 15 sellers. You have no idea, like, I'm a regular customer of Amazon, Flipkart, Big Basket, Dunzo, but when I'm purchasing a large value item on Amazon, I also, till today, even after 10 years of using Amazon, I till today, at the back of my mind, have a doubt that when you're ordering an iPhone, will you get the real, genuine product or will you get a fake product? And that is because you have multiple sellers there. There is no transparency. Everybody's put the same specs, everybody's put the same pricing, but you still don't know where to purchase from. That layer of transparency is 10x when you're going direct on the brand's website. Think of the same iPhone being purchased on apple.com. That entire layer of doubt at the back of your mind goes away. That's what D2C brings into the picture. I'll move on to my second point of discussion, which is quick commerce today. In the last 1 year, since Zepto launched operations in Delhi and Bombay, first in Delhi, Gurgaon, and then in Bombay, the entire quick commerce wave started. Zepto launched 10-minute delivery. Blinkit immediately after Zepto shut down operations, and for 3 months, and immediately pivoted into quick commerce, which is 10, 15, 19-minute delivery. Dunzo followed. Ola created Ola Dash. Swiggy, which had its grocery arm called Instamart, immediately jumped onto quick commerce. So we saw the entire, all forms of businesses went into quick commerce. Today we're just left with about 3 major ones, with Dunzo having good market presence in South. Yash and Naveen, what are your thoughts on quick commerce? You mentioned D2C is here to stay. Do you think quick commerce is here to stay? Do you think quick commerce is a 1-year wave, is a 2-year wave? I'm getting a shampoo in 10 minutes. Is it VC burning his money to get me the shampoo? Or is it a model here to stay?
See, my thoughts towards quick commerce is, if I say as a consumer, the way things used to work is, I used to order on Amazon or any other brand. It used to take 7-8 days and certain days for a product to come in. Over the period of time, this delivery time have got short down with models like Amazon Prime, with models like distributed fulfillment, which like even Ayush presented, the entire supply chain of distributed fulfillment. So the delivery as a customer, as a consumer, they are looking for as fast, as quick as possible. So as a consumer, quick commerce is something interesting to for everybody. Even it's not just limited to e-commerce. There are a lot of F&Bs. Zomato have started Zomato Instant. So I used to order lunch every day, basically in my office. After and I saw someday there was a Zomato Instant showing in my app, and almost I've been ordering every day on Zomato Instant, because I know when I'm hungry I will get this order in 10 minutes. So as a consumer, the adoption towards quick commerce is pretty, you could say, huge. You could say people are, it's solving the pain, it's solving the wait time for a consumer basically. Anything I'm ordering, anything I'm going for, I want a quick delivery and fast delivery as fast as possible. As a business model, although currently it's not sustainable, because with quick commerce, your delivery cost is very high. All of the brands, whether you say Blinkit, whether you say any other brands, if you see their order value versus their shipping cost, at most of the cases their shipping cost would be higher even what is the actually order value basically, what they're shipping to. So there are people who are, if I'm ordering food, let's say even in instant, it's let's say $200 or $300 or $400. With an instant delivery, the kind of a setup, the kind of a, it's not just about the rider delivering it immediately, it's about the entire supply chain. So you need to create stores near to your customer. In case of food F&B, you need to create kitchens near to your customer. So it's not easy to have such setup at scale. Such setup at radius, you could say that you are available at every radius. So although as of now it's not sustainable financially, but as and when, what I believe is as and when the volume scales down, maybe like once people are habited towards quick commerce, we would be open to spend, okay, let's add put $30 for a delivery, or let's add certain small amount for a delivery, but once you are habited towards the quick commerce as a habit, I won't mind, or any consumer won't mind paying some bit extra for the instant delivery. So that's going to be a trend where all the brands will slowly start monetizing this burn basically, which they're doing in terms of delivery. And as and when the volume scale, it's all, see, the logistics and supply chain is all the game about volume. If you have volume, if I have more volume in a consolidated radius, the cost I can optimize in supply chain would be very amazing. So instead of my rider going to certain radiuses and delivering it versus delivering within radius, with the volume, this cost will come down. So it's a game of volume, and it's a game of a consumer habit. Once people get into it, then it's a game of slowly monetizing this quick commerce. But surely, if you say like, will quick commerce be there for a small time, or if it's just a hype? No, quick commerce is something that will remain, that will scale if brands are able to scale it sustainably. Even with D2C and e-commerce, everybody is looking to get inventory as near as possible. We had a lot of FMCG clients we work with in logistics. One of the brands was like Jimmy's Cocktail. We used to work with Jimmy's. So they have whiskey cocktails. And with whiskey cocktails, like somebody coming and they used to get a lot of orders on website. But he used to tell me, let's say, if somebody is ordering a whiskey cocktail, he wanted immediately. He wanted by the evening or by a certain timeline. Otherwise, people don't take it, or people say, okay, my party is over. What is the need of whiskey cocktail coming now? So, if you see the FMCG, if you see certain categories, quick commerce makes a lot of sense to those categories. And eventually, it's gonna evolve and surely scale up in India.
What's your take?
So any business, usually rate on a 3x3 metrics, right? A need, most need, and extra need, right? Now you take this 3 format and you put into another 3 layer: demand, supply, and then there are metrics of revenue, profit, for all those things. So what happens is, now let's say demand across 3, most need, extra need, and need are there always. Right? Let's say if I say you forgot your wallet, there's somebody who can deliver back to you in this conference room. Right? That will come in which need. Now you need to think, is it must need, extra need, or a need? Right? And somebody wants a coconut water because this does not serve a coconut water. Again, which needs is followed. Right? So that's the format. Now everybody, let's say whether all the players which you spoke about are actually playing in either of three. Right? Then the entire demand is anyway there. So there's no question of demand, right? Because as a human, right, if somebody gives me anything right now over here, I don't have any issues. Now that comes with the supply. Now which supply, is what economy and what sort of profit ratio, and whether it will scale or not. Right? This is the combination of all those things, which then later you can decide on the profitability and all those stuff. So I think so. This entire exercise is getting mapped right now, and it's good to see. I mean, as a consumer, it's great because everybody is serving a different need, and everybody is serving with a different timeline to this. So if you see the internet penetration is just, India is just getting up there, right? The whole, we cannot compare with the West world because the data mapping and everything is so organized. Right now, when you look at the pin codes across India, in certain areas, there is no pin code. It is known by a local person's name, Eski Gully, right? So that is getting, let's say, captured in technology. So maybe there is a layer of, let's say, spending, on building those databases, building those technology around, by various all this player. Now, for all this player, what will be important to see is which need, is which consumer will pay extra 10 rupees or 20 rupees, which just spoke about, and whether that will be validated, on how and what basis. So this, I think, so is the whole sort of, let's say, the canvas or skeleton of it. Right? Overspending, promotional spending and seasonal spending, that I'm sure their investors are best judge of their model. Right? But if you really fundamentally put any business into this model, you can easily carve out clear winning strategy and carve out clear differentiation in which areas which you want to play.
Interesting. I'll first pick up one key learning of what Yash said. In the latter half of what Yash mentioned, he mentioned one very important line: delivery cost in certain cases is more than the entire value of the order. And that is very important to know. Let's go back in time. 7 years ago, 2014, Swiggy started operations in Bangalore. A year later, they started operations in Delhi. If anybody remembers that era, you'll figure out that Swiggy at that time used to advertise that you can order one tandoori roti and still get it home without delivery. किसी को वो टाइम याद है? Swiggy used to advertise 0 delivery fees, no minimum order at home. People remember that time, right? Fast forward to today, Swiggy being Swiggy Genie, Swiggy Instamart, Swiggy Food Delivery, and this is new platform of Swiggy. I don't know what it's called for D2C. Minis, I think it's called Swiggy Minis. So all of these platforms today, you order even a 500,000 rupee order, you still have to pay a 30-40 rupee delivery fees. If you're lucky, if you're not, you'll have to pay a delivery surge as well during peak service, dinner service, late night service. When valleys are less than the number of orders, you have to pay a surge on delivery. So at a certain degree of optimization, when order volumes grow, when markets grow, for say Delhi is matured for Swiggy, Bangalore is matured for Swiggy, you start with a 9 rupee delivery fees, you start with an 18 rupee delivery fees, slowly taper it up to about 30-40. That level where the customer is already there. And if you again go back to 2014, why couldn't the Swiggy charge delivery fees? Was because when the industry was expanding over 15, 16, 17, 18, there were players like Foodpanda, Tiny Owl, Uber Eats, all of them in the market. Now again, if you fast forward, there are only two major players left, Zomato and Swiggy. Everything, competition's been wiped out. Two major players dominating food delivery. Both of them charging 30-40 rupees during peak service. Transaction level profitability for both of these platforms is positive. Companies still burn money because G&A costs are the heaviest, corporate costs, tech costs are very heavy. But transactions are making money for these platforms. I'll quickly now open questions for the audience on my third topic, which is going to be an intersection of the first two topics. The first topic was D2C and the entire growth of D2C, and the second topic was quick commerce. Now, if you look at a common thread between D2C and quick commerce, you will see customer retention is one common thread. It's product versus service. Do you go after good product, better transparency, or do you go after better service, faster delivery? Who's going to take this question and tell me product versus service? Can we arrange and facilitate a mic for the audience here? Product versus service. Anybody who's running a brand, who's running an e-commerce business, or even who's running any other business which has a product involved, right? Product versus service. That's not very difficult that everybody's thinking who's going to raise the hand first. You want to go first?
Yeah, I think I'm proceeding this side. So I believe product is paramount, but unless until you provide service, the product has no value for you. If it isn't good service and reaching that particular customer, then that product has no value for that customer. So if both the things combined together would probably take it more way forward. That's my understanding.
Interesting. Anybody else? Can we have a mic there on the left hand side?
As per my experience, if a product is having quality, then people are ready to give you time. I am running one e-commerce site for organic product, and while we are delivering organic fruit or vegetable, that is not possible to deliver on daily basis or on 10 minute or 15 minute. We are delivering only once in a week, and people are eagerly waiting for that my this week collection product is not yet delivered. So if there is quality, then people are ready to pay and ready to wait as well.
Okay. I'll share my thoughts after. I think there's a gentleman right behind you who also wants to share his thoughts.
I would like to say that good products keep the customer interested, and the good service keep them loyal.
I was actually coming to what he said. Product leads to good acquisition and service leads to good retention. The entire customer journey starts with acquisition, goes on to retention, and then goes on to creating loyalists for life, right? So a good product attracts the customer and the user for the first time, and the right service, when delivered with the right product, leads the user to come back again. In our technical terms, I think you would have more knowledge on the Shiprocket side. You say D30 retention, D60 retention. Yeah. You want to share your thoughts on customer retention and product?
So there are various models. Right? So whether what are the customers you're going to retain in 30 days, then 90 days.
You want to take this mic?
I think so there are various models, based on the brands and the products which you are selling. So generally you look at, what are the new cohorts, then how much they are repeating in the first 90 days, then, 120 days and 180 days. What's the, within the 1 year, what's the average quantity bought by a buyer, and the same buyer in the next, year, whether he's going to increase his quantity or is keeping the same or reducing the quantity. And then looking at, various reasons saying, whether there is alternative, that's the reason why the person has reduced the quantity, or there is a then sort of reflection on the serviceable product which you are offering. Right? So there are various models like this.
Yeah. Can we have a mic there, please?
No problem, I'll show you.
Yeah,
From sheer from a perspective of a users,
Sure.
Sheer from a perspective of a user, I am not owning any business or something.
Sure.
I'll just give you a very real-time example. So I am a very a regular user of LinkedIn. Now, of course, with the quick commerce, problem is of stocking. Right. So, for example, if as simple as a bread or eggs, there are multiple brands of breads and eggs. Once I got one brand, I liked that brand. Now, for the next 3 times, I did not get that brand. It was not available wherever I wanted it. But in those 3 times, there were another brand which was available. Now I shifted to that brand because I understand that the first brand was of supreme quality. This one is not of that quality, but this is okay, right? But this is giving me this is available every time. I personally feel service is more important because once
if you see any D2C brand, why do all of this D2C brands burns a lot of cash? If you see the initial years, it could be any brand you see, any emerging D2C, any brand you see, which is if you see the past trend or a current trend, all of this brand burns cash. The reason is, and a major cash burn happens on customer acquisition. So we work with a lot of D2C brands. I'm a performance marketer. I do work with a lot of brands personally in performance, And initially, if you see there, if I talk about the ROAS or ROAS over different social channels, which is return on ad spend, is 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2. So let's say if I'm spending $100, I'm getting a sale of $100 basically. So that's the real trend with any D2C brand you take in India. So what is sustainability? How do they make money while investors are funding it? The major game is repeat. So all of these brands, all of this D2C ecosystem, what they're working on is the first customer acquisition is always a cost. You're burning money on acquiring your first customer, and then the repeat you drive is something what gives you the value, basically. That's where you start making money. So, irrespective of service is important, but if you're not strong in product, you won't get repeat. So, I believe like product is the strongest pillar. Because if you're building D2C, if you're burning cash in customer acquisition, and if you are not strong in product, I'm not going to buy that product next time, even no matter it's available in 10 minutes, or even it's down my shelf, even you're standing and giving it for free. If I'm not happy with product, I won't go for it, basically. So I believe product is the strongest pillar which supports the brand. Because if you talk about service, when you go to the different channels, if you see the Indian, what a D2C or e-commerce brand needs is, the marketing channel is same for everybody. Either you can advertise on Facebook in India, or you can advertise on Google a bit. Facebook and Instagram drives a major conversion. The logistics remain same for everybody. They have 5 or 7 different 3PLs whom everybody work with. A brand would start with aggregators, either with us, with Shiprocket, or with other aggregators, and will move to logistics, but the pin code and coverage and all those remain same. So what's the differentiator? What you are getting basically? What is something different? Why certain brands are certain brands in certain category? So surely branding and marketing is one of the factors. But if you're not strong in product, if your product is not the pillar, you cannot sustain, you cannot survive. If you see the industrial ecosystem, even in D2C, they are not behind.